What happens when a luxury car maker secretly tries to take over Europe's biggest automaker using a strategy so bold it caused the biggest short squeeze in financial history? Welcome to a real-life corporate thriller, a story of financial warfare, family dynasties, billion-euro gambles, and a power play that turned Porsche into a near-legendary case study in Wall Street history. Let's dive into how Porsche, a relatively small sports car manufacturer, nearly conquered Volkswagen and instead ended up being bought, flipping the entire automotive world upside down. The Porsche VW connection. Before we plunge into the turmoil, let's lay the groundwork. Porsche and Volkswagen weren't merely car companies, they were intricately linked through the Porsche and Piëch families, descendants of Ferdinand Porsche, the engineering genius behind the original VW Beetle. This connection ran deep, blending legacy with ambition. Porsche Automobile Holding SE, or Porsche SE, was the family-controlled holding company at the heart of their empire. Its crown jewel, Porsche AG, the storied manufacturer of iconic sports cars like the 911. Porsche SE's reach extended further, clutching a substantial stake in Volkswagen AG, Europe's automotive titan, with a portfolio boasting brands like Audi, Skoda, Bentley, and more. Volkswagen's structure, however, was anything but straightforward. The Volkswagen law granted the state of Lower Saxony a 20% blocking minority, empowering it to veto major decisions. This quirk, combined with Porsche SE's growing influence and a mix of other investors, wove a complex tapestry of power and competing interests. By 2005, the Porsche and Piëch families, through Porsche SE, held significant sway over VW, commanding about 31% of its shares. Their net worth hovered around 8 billion euros, a fortune built on automotive excellence. Yet, their hunger for control was far from satisfied. They didn't just want influence, they craved dominance, setting the stage for a bold and risky power play that would reverberate across the industry. The stealth takeover begins. Now, the plot thickens with covert moves. In 2005, Porsche SE embarked on a stealth mission to acquire Volkswagen shares, but they didn't play the game like ordinary investors. Instead, they employed sophisticated financial tools called cash-settled call options, a type of derivative that let them capitalize on VW's stock price surges without owning the shares outright. The brilliance of this strategy lay in its secrecy. Under German regulations at the time, Porsche wasn't obligated to disclose these options, allowing them to amass a massive stake in Volkswagen while flying under the radar. Few suspected the scale of their ambition as they quietly tightened their grip. By March 2008, Porsche SE went public with their plan, announcing they held 31% of VW's shares and were aiming for outright control. Investors took note, but the market remained relatively calm until October 26, 2008. In a stunning revelation, Porsche disclosed they controlled 74.1% of VW's shares, a combination of direct holdings and their clandestine derivatives. This was a game changer. Reaching 75% would grant Porsche the power to swallow Volkswagen whole potentially, merging two automotive giants under their command. The audacious, meticulously planned maneuver caught the market off guard, igniting chaos and paving the way for one of the most surreal moments in stock market history, as VW's stock was about to soar to unimaginable heights. The short squeeze that shocked the world. In late 2008, the global financial crisis battered markets and hedge funds saw Volkswagen as a prime target, betting its stock would collapse. They dove into short selling, borrowing VW shares, selling them high, and aiming to buy them back cheaper for a tidy profit. But Porsche's October 26, 2008 revelation shattered those plans, announcing a 74.1% stake in VW through direct shares and derivatives. They left only about 6% of shares freely tradable. For short sellers, this was catastrophic. There simply weren't enough shares to cover their sprawling bets. Panic erupted. In a frantic scramble to buy back shares, short sellers drove VW's stock price to dizzying heights. On October 28th, 2008, VW's shares soared, briefly making it the world's most valuable company by market cap, eclipsing titans like ExxonMobil in a surreal twist. This was a short squeeze of historic proportions. Hedge funds lost staggering sums. Some estimates up to $30 billion vanished. Prominent players like Elliott Management, Viking, and D.E. Shaw were reportedly ensnared, though the opaque world of hedge funds hides the full extent of the damage. One thing was certain. The fallout was devastating, a stark reminder of Porsche's strategic brilliance and the market's ruthless volatility. Porsche's fall and VW's counterattack. Porsche's apparent victory was a mirage, masking a fatal flaw. Their strategy to control Volkswagen relied on massive borrowing and complex derivatives, pushing them to the brink. By early 2009, Porsche was drowning in 9 billion euros of debt, their ambition to dominate VW crumbling under financial strain. This vulnerability handed an opportunity to Ferdinand Piëch, VW's supervisory board chairman and a pivotal Piëch family figure. Sensing Porsche's weakness, Piëch acted ruthlessly. In May 2009, he insisted Porsche resolve its crippling debt before any merger talks could advance, seizing the upper hand in the power struggle. By August 2009, Volkswagen executed a stunning reversal, announcing they would acquire a 49.9% stake in Porsche AG, the legendary sports car maker. The predator had become prey. On August 1st, 2012, VW finalized the deal, fully absorbing Porsche AG into its vast empire. This wasn't just a merger, it was a dramatic reverse takeover. Porsche's audacious attempt to acquire VW had imploded, with VW swallowing Porsche instead. The saga, driven by over-leveraged ambition and strategic miscalculation, culminated in a jaw-dropping twist, solidifying VW's supremacy and etching Porsche's failed gambit into corporate history as a stark warning of overreach. The families come out on top. You'd think the Porsche and Piëch families would have been battered by this corporate saga, but they turned chaos into a windfall. They didn't just survive, they thrived, playing a long game that paid off spectacularly. Before 2005, their wealth, anchored in a 31% Volkswagen stake through Porsche SE, was valued at about 8 billion euros. The dramatic events, Porsche's over-leveraged attempt to seize VW, followed by VW's takeover of Porsche AG, looked like a setback. But VW's market value surged in the years that followed, and Porsche AG's 2022 relisting as a public company supercharged their fortune. By then, the family's net worth had skyrocketed to 66.5 billion euros, making them Germany's 7th wealthiest family. Through Porsche SE, they maintained strategic control over VW, showcasing not just resilience but brilliance. Some whisper the saga was a deliberate master plan, though evidence is scarce. The 2008 global financial crisis and unpredictable market forces likely shaped the outcome, blending opportunity with their savvy. Whether by design or a perfect storm, the Porsche and Piëch families transformed a risky gambit into a monumental victory, solidifying their status as cunning titans in the automotive world's high-stakes arena. Who lost big? Not everyone emerged from this corporate storm with a grin. Some faced crushing defeats. Here's a look at the losers. Short sellers and hedge funds were obliterated. The 2008 short squeeze crushed their bets against Volkswagen, with losses potentially hitting $30 billion. Big names like Elliott Management, Viking, and D. Shaw were slammed, their miscalculations costing not just money but also credibility in the financial world. Minority shareholders took a beating too. Small investors who sold VW shares early in panic missed out on jaw-dropping gains when the stock soared. Others, caught in the price roller coasters, lost fortunes trying to navigate the chaotic volatility. Porsche SE itself faltered, buried under 9 billion euros in debt from its reckless bid to control VW. The company was forced into VW's embrace, a stark fall from its ambitious heights. Yet, the Porsche and Piëch families pulling the strings turned the chaos into billions, their wealth unscathed. Employees and stakeholders endured quieter pain. The saga's uncertainty sparked fears of job cuts or restructuring, leaving workers at both companies on edge. Porsche faced legal fights from enraged investors alleging fraud, but they prevailed in court. The real devastation hit those who bet against VW, crushed by a market upheaval that enriched the families while ruining others. Lessons in financial warfare. This saga isn't just about cars or profits, it's a masterclass in financial warfare, where markets become weapons for dominance. Here's why it matters. Porsche's use of cash-settled call options to quietly build a VW stake, hidden by German disclosure rules, reveals a stealthy path to control. A state actor could replicate this, targeting a rival's vital industry, like energy or tech, to secure influence without detection, reshaping geopolitical chessboards. The 2008 short squeeze, catapulting VW's stock to absurd heights, shows how markets can be manipulated to destabilize. A nation could orchestrate trades or spread disinformation to tank a rival's currency or stock market, crippling their economy as a strategic strike. Leverage, as seen in Porsche's 9 billion euro debt debacle, is a high-stakes tool. It magnifies impact, but invites ruin. Wielded by a government or rogue billionaire, massive borrowing could amplify control, like snapping up a rival's key asset to dictate its future. Picture a state secretly buying a competitor's energy firm, then threatening a stock crash to bend policy, or shorting a currency while fueling panic to ignite a crisis. Porsche's tactics offer a playbook for nations, tycoons, or non-state actors to weaponize markets, turning economic systems into battlegrounds. It's a sobering wake-up call. Real-world examples. Let's get speculative and explore the dark potential of financial tactics, inspired by the Porsche VW saga. Targeting infrastructure. Country. A covets control over Country B's energy policy. Through shell companies and cash-settled derivatives, A secretly builds a massive stake in B's leading energy firm, sidestepping disclosure laws. Holding this leverage, A threatens to crash the stock unless B bends on policy like pipeline routes or green energy, turning market power into geopolitical blackmail. Currency destabilization. Country C plots to destabilize Country D's economy. C shorts D's currency aggressively, while spreading disinformation, fake debt default rumors, or staged economic scandals. With time, massive sell-offs, C sparks a market frenzy, driving inflation and plunging D into recession. The attack's opacity shields C from blame. Commodity manipulation, Country E, a rare earth mineral powerhouse, targets Country F's tech industry. E manipulates futures markets to fake scarcity, then halts exports. F's semiconductor firms face shortages, costs spike, and production grinds down, giving E leverage over F's innovation. These maneuvers, cloaked in financial complexity, are nearly untraceable, granting deniability. The Porsche VW saga, built on stealth derivatives, engineered squeezes, and bold leverage, reveals markets as battlegrounds. Nations, tycoons, or rogue actors could exploit these tactics to quietly shift global power with chilling precision. Financial terms, explained, lost in the financial lingo. Let's demystify the terms that fueled the Porsche VW saga. Derivative, a contract tied to an asset's value, like VW shares. It allows betting on price swings without owning the stock. Porsche used derivatives to quietly build influence over VW. Cash-settled call option, a derivative that lets Porsche cash in on VW's rising stock price without purchasing shares. Under German law, these didn't need disclosing, so Porsche amassed a huge stake in secret, catching markets off guard. Short selling, borrowing shares, selling them, and aiming to repurchase at a lower price for profit. Hedge funds shorting VW bet on a drop, but were obliterated when prices skyrocket. Short squeeze, when a stock jumps, short sellers rush to buy shares to cover losses, pushing prices even higher. VW's 2008 surge, sparked by Porsche's 74.1% stake reveal, was a brutal squeeze, wiping out billions. Leverage, borrowing to magnify returns, or risks. Porsche's €9 billion debt supercharged their VW takeover attempt but became a crushing burden when it failed. Holding company, Porsche SE, for instance, owned stakes in companies like Porsche AG and VW, streamlining control. These financial weapons shaped Porsche's bold gambit, transforming markets into a battleground of strategy, deception, and colossal stakes. And that's the Porsche-Volkswagen saga, a story of ambition, betrayal, and financial genius. The Porsche and PA families turned a failed takeover into a massive win, while short sellers and small investors paid the price. Plus, it's a blueprint for financial warfare that could shape global power play. What do you think? Was this a brilliant strategy or a risky gamble? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what other financial dramas you want me to cover. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.